You must be careful about the words you use, or the words you allow to be used in your house. Words are things. You must be careful. Careful about calling people out of their names, using racial pejoratives and sexual pejoratives and all that ignorance. Don't do that.
It's time to talk about it.
Pull up a chair and take a seat.
We're serving up recipes for life.
With Hampton University's Dr. Richard Mason and Dr. Tamara Williams.
Welcome to the Sunday Brunch.
This is Dr. Tamara Williams.
And this is Dr. Richard Mason. And welcome back to another edition of Sunday Brunch with Good Doctors.
The good doctors.
We are back at the table again. I'm excited. It's always good to be back here at the table, enjoying breaking bread with you, eating a little bacon, drinking a little orange juice.
I have some water for today, definitely. But yes, it's always a good time to be back at the table. After people hear the good word, it's good that they can sit and talk with the good doctors. So
Exactly. So how's your week been?
it's been a busy week. But a thankful week. Just glad that things are moving along and getting ready for the next week. You know how we do.
Yeah.
Checking the calendar to make sure we're everywhere we're supposed to be.
That's it. I'll tell folks. I live and die by the schedule.
That part. But it's just like we said, it's good to be seen and not you.
That's right.
So we're going to keep all of that part pushing and just, glad that we're waking up in our right minds and that we can keep having these conversations.
That's it. And I definitely enjoy these conversations, sitting right here at the table. And just running into some folks a couple of days ago, and they were just talking about how our conversations have truly blessed them. It's really turned, a couple of folks, it's really turned them onto some things in terms of just some things they needed to start looking at more closely in their own lives. And, it was one of the topics that we had on the show that they were like, wow, let me start looking at this. And they were real thankful for it, and so it's good to be a blessing to some folks, and so I always tell folks, if you're hearing some good things and you like what you're hearing, please, feel free to let us know.
Absolutely. You never know who's actually listening.
Right.
Until they come and say something. We never know. But I know I enjoy the conversations. And so I'm always constantly learning something new. Even though we're inviting the guests on, we're still learning new information. We're engaged in these conversations. So I'm having a good time. So as long as they continue to have us, they'll have us.
Exactly. And
I'm excited about our conversation today too.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be right here. But listen, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce our speaker and our topic and all. And I'm going to head on up to the buffet line because they've introduced something new up here. They've introduced a little bit of Salisbury steak. I haven't had that since I was a kid. So I think I'm going to go try that today, along with the bacon, though. But I'm going to try that little Salisbury steak I saw.
Does it? Yeah, bring a little extra back.
I got you. I'll bring a little piece for you. All right.
And they have some rice up there, rice, Salisbury steak, that goes together. Okay.
Exactly.
We'll mix it all together in the brunch. I'm excited about our topic today because we are going to be talking with one of our guests that we've had before. He's almost like one of our, resident expert. Every couple of years he comes around and updates us on a lot of different things. He came and talked to us before about a male perspective and transitioning from work and all types of things. And so we definitely want to get an update from him. But we're going to have a conversation about parenting and some of these transitions that are happening in parenting, some of the things that people who have high school students that are getting ready to graduate, some things that they need to consider and talk about. And so I am very excited to have this conversation about parenting from a parent extraordinaire. Parent extraordinaire for sure. He doesn't do it all by himself, but we definitely want to invite Dr. Crosby to the table. Welcome back to Sunday.
Welcome back to the table.
Indeed, man. Yeah, y'all need to go ahead and put a permanent little spot. I'll bring my microphone and just plug in. We keep this thing going. You know what I mean? But listen, it's always y'all know it's always great to sit down, and whether we're, on this format or just having conversation on the phone or through text or whatever the case, man, is always important to surround yourself with good people, whose brains you can pick and, who you can learn from. So anytime, man, I always enjoy myself coming up here and spending some time with y'all.
Well,
I'm glad that you came back. We had to have this conversation of parenting because you and I were having a similar conversation not that long ago. I had, what you don't know, bro, is your niece is about to turn 13. She's about to turn 13. And she decided that she wanted to have this karaoke DJ, like a dance party, co-ed party. And I was
wait, you said co-ed?
You heard? You wanted to have this, co-ed karaoke party. Now, Dr. Crosby is, you can see his shirt Encore.
Right.
He has his, he has a company. He has a company where he's DJed for quite a few, I can't even count it. I don't think he knows how many events. It's no count. It's all different, right? It's no count to the events. And so I was like, I need to contact my brother and see if I can get him to come and do my baby's party. So we started lining this thing up. He was doing his due diligence. He was lining it up. He was getting, songs, kind of music together. And your niece decided that her grades were going to drop. She went from straight A's. Now, she didn't plummet to the moon, but it was how it happened that occurred. So I wanted to have this conversation about parenting because it's not the easiest job out there. You don't get any training about this, but it's all about what you're teaching them for the future, essentially. And so I don't expect my daughter to be perfect, but I do expect her to give me her best. And she did not do her very best. And I was able to decipher that. And so as a result, she lost her party. She lost the party. Now, in the process, it was she didn't do her best, so much so that the teacher asked her, was there something wrong with her teaching? Because she expected her grade to be that much higher than that, based on her always making straight A's. So she was wondering, is there something wrong with my delivery that your grade has dropped because you're the standard of the class? So we had to have a conversation.
But the party.
I understand.
How you take the whole party?
Hey. Because I don't play about education. That's your only job. That's your only job. And I told you, we had a conversation about it. Your niece decided that she was going to try to calculate how many points she would need and which assignment she would need in order to keep an A. She was calculated. And I explained to her that we do all the work. We don't there's no shortcuts to success. And so since we have been having the conversation, you cannot, to me, C doesn't equal commencement. It definitely doesn't equal a celebration when we don't wake up to be mediocre. And if you had challenges, that's one thing. But if you don't have these challenges and it's based on decisions that you made, we have consequences. So when she gets to high school and she gets to college, she has to understand that we're not celebrating you just trying to be good enough. As people, and definitely as Black women, we can't be just good enough. That's not gonna cut it. So we gotta start now.
But can we do a little extra dishes?
You see his face, Dr. Crosby. His face is like, I can't believe you took my niece's party. And
wash some extra dishes. Do a little more vacuuming or something. You done took the party.
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness,
I bet she won't.
Dr. Brunch.
She will not forget. Hey,
Dr. Cruella DeVille, I'm calling you all the
listen, when she gets her doctorate degree many years down the line, I'm going to invite you to the ceremony and you call me whatever you want to call me. You call me her mama. We had a good conversation. Your niece took it like a champ because she knows that her mama doesn't play when it comes to education. That's the one thing that I request. If she had a learning disability or she was challenged, then that'd be one thing. But the fact that you told me that you tried to circumvent the system, anytime you try to cheat the game.
Cruella DeVille.
Call me what you want. Now she will get to go and get celebrated on her birthday, in the sense that I will still take her out. Her best friend will go and do some painting or something to that nature. So I will still celebrate her. It just won't be what she wanted specifically. If she can pull it together by the end of the year and balance that thing back out, she might get to have a summer bash or something like that to that nature.
Daryl, let me ask you this. Dr. Crosby, can you make me a good old-fashioned mixtape for my niece so at least I can give her a little something? Because Cruella ain't playing over there. You know what I'm saying?
Put a 30-second snippet of the song.
He's like, look, happy birthday back. Listen, it's the whole village.
When Doc hit me up and, we were getting everything together, I'm asking questions, she's asking questions. We try to, put it all together. But then she told me that, I had to take this away from the baby girl. I was like, ooh. Then she said, from the school, what was going on. And I was like, man, she must have forgot who her parents are.
Listen.
Look, and I told my brother, I said, look, I'll pay you for your time because I admire, your artistry. I don't believe in taking advantage of people in that regard, because it's not his fault that she didn't do what she was supposed to do. But I, in good conscience, could not have her hopping and skipping around, and I know she handle her business. And so I'm like, people, that's a lot of money to put out to celebrate. I'd be reinforcing her behavior and her entitlement of that.
I totally get it. And there's a level of expectation that you've already, instilled in her. And, sometimes, kids, they'll try to be slick and they'll try to call you bluff on some things. And, sometimes, I always like to say, sometimes you got to let them know. Sometimes they got to find out. And so you did both of those things. You had to
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to pop out and show them. I understand.
That's right. But here's the thing, if I'm pretty sure this will be the case, that ain't gonna happen again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So what you did, you set a standard that, hey, you, especially when you say she's trying to beat the system and trying to calculate how much she can slack off and still get rewarded. No, that's not going to fly in the Williams household, and hopefully more households that we know. No, you can't do that and still expect to get the best, especially in the state of where we are as African Americans. We got to put our best foot forward at all times. We can't
better than best.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. We can't half step and still expect, displaying that level of or that mindset of entitlement that, okay, yeah, I'm 13 years old. Yeah. My mom is this, my dad is this. Yeah. Normally when this happens, I get rewarded. So I can just do the bare minimum and still get what I want. Nah, that can't be the expectation. So I definitely understand your route.
and listen, and I became even more of the Grinch because the teacher had the question about her ability to transfer the information to them. She ended up curving that assignment that my daughter miscalculated. So she ended up, instead of with a C, she ended up with all A's and a B, and she still didn't get her party.
Wait a minute, Cruella. I canceled the party for a
party had already been canceled, and the grade change was not because what she did. It wasn't because of her initiative, because I told her, talk to the teacher, discuss, see what you can do about your grade. She didn't want to have the conversation either. So I said, if you don't want to do the work because you didn't do the work, then why would I want to do all of this work to pay for you to celebrate you not doing the work? So
let me go see my niece. You probably got her at home stitching one of them little puppy coats now, don't you, Cruella? She probably at home trying to, that's her makeup assignment, stitch a little puppy coat or something.
No.
Dalmatian print.
I better not see you wear that Dalmatian print to work.
Okay, listen, you gotta hit them where it naturally hurts. Like for certain people, it doesn't mean anything. If I say go wash the dish, she's not gonna remember that. She won't eat on the dishes the next day, or it'll be done. But she will always remember how she missed this 13th party because she did not handle her business.
Oh my goodness.
Look, there's a lot of layers to this, but I wanna, kind of go against the grain in a little bit. I want to shout out that teacher though, that said, you know what? Was it something that I didn't do? Was it something that she was able to do a little bit of self-reflecting and said, okay, if one of my students who's the top student in my class or in my classes or whatever the case, if they didn't get it, what am I doing? So she was able to kind of flip that around. And I appreciate that from an educator.
Definitely. Yes.
So I wanted to shout whoever that teacher was, I wanted to shout her out.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what upset me the most with my daughter. I said, you got other people questioning their abilities because you will not live up to yours. I said, that's not fair. And as everybody at this table at some point has been an educator, and some of us are still educators in that sense. We take that to heart. We really are trying to get the best from our students, and we really are trying to make sure that everybody gets it. And so we have those markers in the class. If this person asks a question, that means some other people got the question. Or if this person, they get it, we know these people get it. And so that's teachers are already struggling. That's not fair to make her struggle because she doesn't know that you're trying to calculate and do just enough, or you didn't do the assignment. She may assume you didn't do the assignment because you didn't understand it. Versus you didn't do it because you felt like it wasn't worth enough points.
Is that a form of gaslighting? Did she educationally gaslight your teacher? Her teacher?
I told her she had the wrong mama for that.
But see, now I will say I get it because I remember when my son was in school, they would give, based on good behavior, they would get these homework passes. So this joker was calculating the fact that he wasn't doing homework, And my wife, who I used to call her the parent portal police, she was checking that thing every day. So she would see these zeros, and he was thinking he was going to whip out all of these homework coupons at the end. It's like, buddy, you better turn them, you better do that homework and turn that. I had to tell the teacher, you better find another reward system because that joker gonna do his homework. I told you better sell those homework passes, make you a little money on the side or something,
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not co-signing that plan, but I'm co-signing finding a different way to reward. And that's what I wanted her to understand. There's no shortcuts to success. You cannot take the shortcut way. And then if you're not doing the work, that means you're missing something. You're not going to understand something. So your A's that might have been easy to accomplish before will be much harder to accomplish and maintain because you're missing gaps in your education. So I'll be the mean mama right now.
All right, Corella. All right. That's all I'm going to say. I can't believe it. You done took the party for a B. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, it was a C naturally. She better thank God, the sweet baby Jesus, that it got moved up to a B. Because it could have been more than a party.
Go bag pack. She got to keep a go bag pack. Come live with uncle and auntie for a few days if anything else go wrong.
I'm gonna give her your number. She'll be ready. But Dr. Crosby, talk to us a little bit more about that aspect, because you, for quite some time, were preparing students to go to college. They were taking tours. You were helping them get scholarships and get into that part. So,
yeah. So now we're at the point where our oldest is a senior, right? And I can't believe we're at this point. But things have shifted a lot. Like you mentioned, back in 2009, we started my wife and I started a nonprofit organization called My Life, My Legacy. And basically the whole premise of My Life, My Legacy was it was a college prep organization. And so we saw a gap at the time when we were at my home church. We saw a gap with the young people that they didn't really have any advocates that was helping them realize that there's other things than just going into the workforce right after high school. While there's nothing wrong with that, absolutely not. But these students had other options. Our thing was like, hey, we want you to recognize your options, whether it's the workforce, whether it's the military, whether it's college. The workforce and the military, that was like the natural selection, right? And so a lot of our students that we were connected with at our church, they weren't exploring that college option. And so my wife and I, we kind of put some things together, kind of tapped into our resources and everything. And we ended up coming up with My Life, My Legacy. And so we would, I think every first Monday, we would have different sessions, bring in different speakers that have different discussions about, what it's like going to college, or what it's like preparing for college. And even on the backside of college, having some experience as college graduates ourselves, and knowing this person, knowing that person, we were able to tap into some of the resources that we had. And it provided a different insight for those students, and not only those students, but for their families, because a lot of times students, they didn't have that desire and that motivation to go to college because they didn't have anyone in the house that can give them that perspective. And so, like I said, we put all of those things together. And one of the most rewarding pieces was seeing them respond when we would set up different college tours. When we actually got on the college tour and was able to walk on the different campuses, and man, we went all up and down, the East Coast, man. We were in, Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina. We were down in Atlanta. Went to your old stomping grounds, Dr.
Mm-hmm.
We were at Spelman and Morehouse.
All right.
Up in Maryland, up in Pennsylvania. We went to a lot of different schools throughout those years, just to expose them to, like, hey, this is what it feels like to step foot on campus. And then, we gave them a lot of help with the application process and the scholarships. And actually one of our students, he went to Hampton High School, and he was a recipient of the Gates Millennial Scholarship. And so that was that's one of our, success stories. That was a major piece, because I remember he used to fight like, man, I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to do this. They were like, look, man, you got an opportunity. Hey, just fill it out. Man, I don't feel like writing this essay. I know I get it, but let's fill it out. He filled it out. Some time went past. His mother called me, because we all used to go to the same, that's where it started. We went to the same church, but we still had people who, who didn't go to church with us. Some of their friends they invited, and that's how we were able to grow. But his family, we all went to the same church. And I remember she called me and she was yelling. His name was Takari. Shout out Takari Rollins. He went to Hampton High School. Says Takari, she was so excited that Takari got the Gates Millennial Scholarship. My whole thing was like, look, man, you can't score if you don't shoot. If you did not apply for that, you would have never known that you were able to get that. And lo and behold, he goes down to Morehouse College, and he gets that opportunity to fulfill his college dreams and fulfill dreams for his family through the Gates Millennial Scholarship, man. And that was a major, just a hallelujah type thing for us and for his family and that type of thing. So fast forward, of course, he wasn't the only one who was rewarded scholarships and who had gone on to college and that type. We had quite a few students. And in fact, we had a 100% success rate of students who went on and applied to college. They were accepted to multiple colleges. So fast forward, when we get to now, I understand what my man Takari was going through, because my wife and I, we're putting in this work. My daughter, she's putting in a lot of work, and it's like we're both looking at each other like, man, I don't feel like doing this stuff, man. I don't feel like applying for these schools and that type of thing. And so, but right now, she has 100% all the schools she's applied for, she's been accepted to. I think it's up to 15 different schools. She has out of her top 4 schools, she has one just came in on Saturday. So she has North Carolina A&T as one of her selections. She has Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, UVA. She has she has a pool of schools that she can choose from. And so, but that's just a result of hard work and a dedication that not only through this application process and the scholarship stuff process, but through her academic career. Going back to your daughter, Dr. Williams, your daughter has put in a certain level of work, and you want her to continue to put in that work and get that success. But we're actually seeing the success and the hard work pay off. Our daughter has, our oldest daughter, she has a 4.3 37 GPA. She's ranked top 2% of her class. Like, she has done the work, where these colleges, she fits all of those criteria for the application process. And so we're seeing seeing all that stuff kind of pay off. And then our youngest daughter, she's a ninth grader, but she's starting her high school career off very well. And so that's where we are, man. And it's just amazing. Even though it's hard work, it's good it's a good feeling when those emails come in, and when those letters come into the mail, and the success that she's seeing because of her hard work, on top of balancing everything else that she's doing. So that's where we are, man. I know that's a long story, but I thought all the pieces of that made sense in order to, kind of share where we are with our family journey, our academic journey, our educational journey. And it
happened very quickly. It seemed like it just happened overnight. You blinked your eyes.
It did.
And, and here she is, her senior year.
Yeah.
Her senior. Did she do a general application? You named quite a few schools. Did she do like one of those general ones? And she sent
the Common App. Yeah.
Common App.
Yeah. So we did the Common App. I think it's called like literally the commonapp.com. Like that. And then we did the Common App for HBCUs. We took advantage of that. But still, even with doing that, that exposes you to more opportunities, but there's still additional steps that you have to take. So, and this is something that I learned. I thought that you just do, and it goes out, and it does. But what's not talked about is the additional steps that needs to happen in order for you to, be a little more concentrated on the particular universities.
Right.
And so all of this is a learner. Even though we had the program and we helped those students do this and do that, this is still a learning process for us, because time, things evolve, processes evolve, time changes, things are different.
Requirements are different.
Climate is different. Yeah, right. Applying for college now looks a lot different than what it did then, just because of everything else that's happening around. And now there's this department, or now this department is no longer here. Like, things shift.
But the other thing is too, you're doing it from a different lens. You're doing it from a parenting lens, and that's a different kind of emotional tie to things, because this is your baby.
Yeah.
What's it like from that lens for you?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. This is our baby, and obviously when we were helping the young people that were in our group, and even in my career, I've helped students get to this point, but I'm limited because I don't have the time that I have with them that I have with my own daughter. And like anyone else, you put a little special oomph to it when it's your daughter, or when it's your son, when it's your kid, because like you're looking at it a little differently. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, all right, where's my baby going to go where she's going to be safe? A reputable education. She's going to get opportunities to do other things, because one thing we believe in, networking piece. Like, college is what you make it. Yes, you can go to college, just go to class, but if you're not connected to other things that's going on, then you're going to miss out on the whole purpose of college. And then we got to from the financial standpoint, because I'm gonna tell you.
See, that was my next conversation. Like, you're looking at it from a different angle too, because you now have to finance this. Like, you have to figure out how this is going to happen.
And so that's one of the elements, or one of the layers. Like, when we were helping students, we didn't have to look at it from that standpoint. We just gave them the information, like, hey, y'all figure that out. No, we're not doing that, man. College is expensive. And again, that's another piece too. College, the tuition of colleges back then when we were working with them is a lot different now. And so now that responsibility is going to be on us, because I don't want our daughter, or even when my youngest gets to be, I don't want our daughters to have to settle for something else because of me or because of my wife. From the parental standpoint, if you want to go to this school, I want to do everything that I can possibly do to get you to that school. So if that means I have to tap into more of my resources so that we can get more access to scholarships and grants and whatever the case.
And see, that's the question now with our current administration too, with what's going to happen with grants and funding for these programs. And so
that's concerning to me. That's very concerning. That's super concerning to me, the way things are being cut, the way things are being shifted.
Even programs, will your daughter be able to get in some of the schools where they even consider or interview her specifically as a minority? Not to say that she would have a DI position, but that changes a lot of things about whether or not they're even required to interview people of color.
That is very true. That is very true.
And then what environment when she be in when she gets there?
Right. And so, I mean, I don't want. All right. So look, we can go different directions with that. What is DEI? Right. How are you going to tell me? How you going to cut DEI programs when your whole, man, listen. When your whole trajectory to get to where you are is questionable, right? But like I said, I don't want to go too deep into that. But yes, those are things that we have to consider. Those are things we have to, be mindful of, when we're doing this whole college thing. But we value that education. We value that higher education, and here we are. So like I said, we're going to do everything that we can possibly do to make this a reality. All their lives, their young lives, they've heard about higher education, and we've been preparing them for this particular moment. And so here we are, so it's real now, it's real now. And we've experienced success up until this point, but there's a lot more to go. A lot more.
Now, how do you think, as a parent, one of the things that I know when we get these freshmen in, we have this big letting go ceremony. And, I've had friends, of course, that are coming up and they're sending their kids off to college. And the question is, like, what did you all do? Talk to me about this, And my thing is, if you start the process early of quote unquote letting go, as you get to that place, not that it's going to be easy, but it's going to be easier because you're developing in your mindset that, hey, listen, we've prepared her for this moment. Yeah. We've prepared her to be independent, to be this thinker, whereas we're not sitting around doing this on our, everything for her. How do you prepare that? And have you started that process, kind of knowing what you know, have you started that process with the whole letting go mindset?
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell y'all like this, and I'm going to be transparent, and there's no shame in my game. But I'm gonna shed some tears.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry with you.
I'm gonna shed a lot of tears, probably at graduation. We ain't even thinking about college yet. At graduation, I'm probably gonna shed some tears because, and this is our baby, not our baby, in the sense of our youngest, but this is our baby.
Right.
The first one.
Y'all grew up together.
Yeah. Like literally, like as parents, and you said earlier. As a parent, they don't give you any type of. You can buy anything in this world, and it's going to come with some sort of
manual.
Yeah. Or you can go on YouTube. You can hit the QR code, go to YouTube, and it show you how. Not with kids.
Yeah.
No, I remember
they were like, "Here, leave the hospital, go."
And they put him in the car seat. You get to the house, and it's like, "How do I get him out?" That was a struggle.
Right.
Got Kelly into the house, and it was like, how do I get this kid into the house? I had to just unbuckle the whole car seat because I couldn't take the little compartment out. I couldn't do it.
And then you got to worry about how you're going to get that car seat back in.
I had to call help.
Exactly. Yeah. So from that standpoint, man, it's like, I know it's going to be emotional for me. There are some things we can lean on. My wife has done a wonderful job raising her as a young lady. There's some things as a young lady I can't teach her, but I thank God that my wife has been there and she's been schooling her some things. We've been preparing her as much as possible. Some things she ain't listened to, But for the most
Mhm.
part, we felt that we've taught her everything that she was ready to be taught. Some things we know that she's going to have to learn on her own.
Mhm.
And
And
that's the scary part
that's the
sometimes.
scary part.
Yeah.
I will say, like, this is a happy time, but at the same time, it's a scary time too, because
Mhm.
not because of her. I pretty much, for the most part, I'm not gonna say 100%, but because I know her, because I've seen her grow, I know how she's going to respond in certain situations because of her
Mhm.
temperament, because of just what she's been instilled.
Mhm.
But I'm more concerned about other people,
Mhm.
and
Right.
their approach, because not everybody knows how to operate with other people. Not everybody, and we tell them all the time, there's some mean people in this world. There's some people who are out there for selfish reasons, who are looking to do everything that they can do to get what they want. And
Mhm.
we have to learn how to deal with it. We have to
Mhm.
learn how to talk with them, communicate properly. We have to know just how to guard ourselves. We have to be sharp with our emotional intelligence, so that we know how to regulate self,
Mhm.
know how to be socially aware of what's going on. Again, knowing how to communicate with people,
And she has to understand her own boundaries.
her own boundaries.
That's yeah, and how to reinforce those things
Yeah.
as a woman, a
Mhm.
Black woman. That's a tough work right there.
Yeah. And
In
then a
our
lot of
environment now.
absolutely. And a lot of those things she can't learn here.
Mhm.
Like, she can't learn at home. Because in a sense, our kids, I mean, Doc Williams, you're a kick at 10 war. Like, in a sense, we were sheltered.
Sheltered.
We were sheltered in this.
Sheltered.
You know what I mean? Like, compared to
Mhm.
what the world is,
Sheltered.
we were sheltered. And
Mhm.
so
Sheltered.
I know that. I know that they're spoiled. I know, but that's not their fault. But,
And I
but
appreciate your honesty in that. A
Right.
lot of people,
Mhm.
a lot of parents, once they get to school and they're like, this child's not doing this or they're not doing that, they don't realize it came from somewhere. Like
Right.
we cleared the path for them. A lot of things that we struggle with, we cleared the path for
Mhm.
them to not have to struggle. And because
Right.
they haven't struggled in some of those ways, they haven't built some of those skills, those problem solving skills. They haven't built some of those resilience
Mhm.
skills. They haven't built some of the conversation skills that's necessary to
Mhm.
speak up for themselves and understand their voice and know when's a safe way to say something and who you can
Mhm.
say something to versus who you can't say something. They
yeah,
haven't learned some of those things because we don't let them outside the way they let us outside.
Right.
They don't run the neighborhood and learn the languages the way that we did those things to maneuver those types of social consequences.
Mhm.
yeah,
Because it's not the same environment. Daryl, you and I, we couldn't wait to leave. Like we couldn't wait to graduate. It was a different understanding.
Mhm.
Whereas I went on to Atlanta, I was like, I'm up.
yeah,
You know, that was just one of the places that I applied to. I wanted to go to Spelman. I wanted to leave and go and wasn't afraid. And then went to Chicago after that. My daughter wants to go to Hampton because she doesn't have that same push to I want to leave. We've made it so nice.
yeah,
So they
yeah,
don't really want, to go away. They
yeah.
want they're not
Mhm.
equipped sometimes to handle the stress of being away either.
That's true. And
Mhm.
I think that goes back to another topics or another pieces of this topic we were talking about. You know, we have to make that the right decision as far as what school, because we're going to have to depend on that school to teach her some of those things that we could not teach her here in
Mhm.
Hampton or here
Mhm.
in our neighborhood, here in our house.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
what school is the best school that's going to teach her that,
Mhm.
to give her all the skills for that, but not to treat her in a cruel way. You know what I mean?
That is
Mhm.
definitely key.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Because you learn inside the classroom and outside of the classroom.
Mhm.
And some of
Mhm.
my biggest lessons in college happen outside of the class.
Mhm.
Those life lessons that are occurring at the same time that you're in that growing stage of adult.
Mhm.
So one of our friends, Dr. Williams, we went to high school with. I remember her telling me about someone that she had met up in college, and something that person said that it never left me. They said, "I didn't learn from the university. I learned from the universe."
Mm.
Mhm.
And so that I think that quote there just kind of fits exactly what we're talking about. There's going to be some things that it's almost three-pronged. Some things we learned that we're able to teach her here. There's some things that the school will be able to teach her, and then there's some things that the world will be able to teach her.
The world is teaching. It's loud right now too.
Right, but there's steps to it. Like we can do what we can do here to prepare her for the university. The university can help us, this partnership, this parenting partnership, to help her prepare for the universe. And so that's why we have to be strategic. We have to, really do our due diligence. We thank God for options. As far as like she doesn't have to pick one school because she didn't have any other schools. We have, quite a few schools we can pick from. But there's so many things that we're like, all right, school, we like you, but are you the right school for her?
And are you safe? Yes.
Are you safe? That's number one. That's number one. You got to be as safe. She has to feel comfortable. We have to feel comfortable. Definitely her, because she's going to be there. She's going to be there in times that we're not.
And y'all have to be comfortable as parents too, because I will say this: if you're not comfortable, she's going to know you're not comfortable. She's going to feed off of your energy. And if you have that anxiety, and I share this with parents all the time, your kid will feed off of your own emotional intelligence in situations. You'll have a kid that may be fearless, step out into a situation, but you have that parent that's constantly calling, hey, how was the day? You okay? You all right? Anything going on? What did they do to you? This is the stuff that happens. And then all of a sudden, now you have this kid who develops this level of insecurity or not feeling safe because of the actions of the parent.
Yeah.
So as parents come and they bring their kids to school, I always tell them, be careful in terms of the energy that you are giving to your kid.
Yeah.
And that's just a part of having to parent differently,
finding that balance.
Yeah.
I used to do the sessions about letting go at the university when the parents would drop them off. And so, helping the parents to find how are you now going to redefine your life? Because a lot of times people call themselves so-and-so's mom, and that's how they've been defined for so long, all the events and everything brought them. So now you have this gap, something's going on. For you, Dr. Crosby, you still have another little person in the house that you're going to still raise. But even then, the family dynamic is shifting and changing, because her whole life has been accustomed to having this big sister in the household. There being the Crosby party of 4, and now it's Crosby party of 3 a little bit.
Yeah. And one thing that we try to keep us all mindful of, is we tell her, my youngest, like, hey, right now, your sister is getting a lot of attention because it's just her time. She's a senior. There's a lot of conversation about college, about scholarships, about this, that, and the third. But just be ready.
Your time is coming.
We're transparent in our conversations, and when we do, like when the emails come in and she's been accepted into this university, we make sure that my youngest, that she hears all of this as well. We're very transparent, because it's just a matter of time before her time is going to come. So we don't want her to feel she's actually in a good position, because she's going to be more prepared than my oldest was.
Oh, yes.
She would have gone through it before. It's just that now big sister is doing it first, and so we're always mindful about how she's doing academically. She's doing well for her freshman year, and we constantly remind her of that, because it's easy to get overshadowed by a high achiever. And she's a high achiever. She always has been, but that's not to say that my youngest isn't matching that same energy. I don't know if it's a drive, I don't know if it's competition to her, but whatever it is, keep it going. Make it easy on yourself. That's what we try to tell. Look, make start your high school years off strong. Make it easy for yourself by the time you get to senior year. Then everything else will just kind of fall right in line. So yeah, we have those conversations, and we just organically try to keep things as open as possible. And whatever questions my youngest may have about college, all the college trips that we go on as a family, you know, we go on as a family, you know, not just for Jairus, our oldest, but Jake see this as well. And it was the same way when we had the organization. There were quite a few tours that, you know, you have these other high school students, then you see this elementary student and then a smaller elementary student. They were there too. And, you know, some people are like, well, why they get to go? Because they are kids.
That part.
And you're planting seeds.
Exactly.
That part, because they're
this is our organization. They're our kids. And so they're going to see all of this.
That part. And I like that you had the conversation with your youngest. And it's different when there's like a difference in the gender and the siblings, but you're raising like two women. So, you know, the comparison thing is often found there, even if you're not trying to put it there. So it's great that you're having that healthy dialogue with her and having that conversation with, she doesn't necessarily have to be like her sister. She can be herself and find her own path. Comparison is really the thief for joy.
Absolutely.
A lot of people kill themselves by who they compare themselves with. So it's nice to know that she has her own space, but it's not a different expectation for her. So like, it's not like I expect you to do less than what your sister is doing, but I expect you to do your best.
Yeah. Exactly. We all understand that they're both going to have, you know, different routes. Well, nothing's going to be identical. It could be similar, but it doesn't have to, like, you don't have to, like my oldest, she's looking into the architecture field, architecture engineer. Like my youngest, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Find what makes you happy. And then we can work around, you know, as far as what school. You don't have to go to the same college, or you don't have to, you know, follow this exact blueprint that your sister has established. And we're totally fine with that. We just want you to be successful. We don't want you to not try.
That part.
Yeah. So that's the main thing, man. And it's just crazy how all this stuff is just happening so fast, man.
The blink of the eye. I remember the diaper stage.
Man,
I mean, real talk. I remember us being in high school together. You know,
man, look.
I remember sitting at the lunch tables. You know, so
right.
We ate lunch together almost every day. Yeah, I remember that.
I'll go back even further.
Wait a minute.
You know Thomas Eaton?
I remember. Yes, indeed. I remember us being in the band together.
In the band, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Nipel.
Oh, Mr. Nipel, yeah. One of the legends in this area. In fact, we were talking about, and I don't know if you remember this. So we were sitting here talking and all right, recently, like back in September, we had gone to Hershey Park. Right. And I'm not a roller coaster guy. I no shame in my game. I don't care who's listening, who's laughing. I don't ride roller coasters. And I know I don't ride roller coasters because in middle school, we went to Kings Dominion. I think we might have been in 8th grade with the band. Mr. Nipel took us to Kings Dominion, and I got on my first roller coaster, which was the Rebel Yell.
You remember?
I remember that because it traumatized me. And to this day, you know, yes, I've been on roller coasters since then, but I know good and well when I get on roller coasters,
you don't want to be there.
Why am I on this roller coaster? I know from 8th grade at band trip that when I got on the Rebel Yell, the one that you stand up, I hated it. So why am I on this again? And so there was a roller coaster at Hershey Park that fooled us because on the outside, it looked like it was doing one thing, but once you actually got in it, and then they did that slow roll, and it was kind of like under, I don't want to say a tent, but the way the building was set up is like you got to be under the shelter before you go out. But when you go out, then you actually see the track, and that thing went way up in the air like that. But by that time, you already in.
You already locked in, buddy.
We stuck.
Yeah.
And we got a picture, man. I'll share it off the air, man. We got a picture where we all are just locked in there like this, about to experience the worst.
You got to take it for a ride.
Man, listen. And so, yeah, we were just talking about all of that. But yeah, going back, how we go back to middle school, man, that's something I'll never forget. I'll never forget. So I remember being in the middle school and in high school, and now here we are, man.
Whole adults, and before you know it, I mean, that's exactly how fast life is transitioning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then it's the next generation. And so it's good that we're able to continue these types of conversations for sure that are helpful for parents and for them to remember that they too have been through this. You know, they too have gone this route. And even if you didn't go to college, you've been a kid before. You've been to that point. You're trying to figure out what your next step is, what your next purpose is, what can you add to society. And it happens
Redefining
before you
yourself.
know it.
Yeah, redefining yourself. That's one of the things that, you know, as we age and starting to figure out who are you, you know, and when your kids move out, you really have to look at, hey, now what do I do? You know, the running joke we tell my son, he's always laughing at us. You guys travel a lot. Yeah, I'm spending your inheritance, you know. So we pack it up and we go.
And you called me Cruella.
But
I'm just taking one party. You taking a life of parties.
Hey, he got to figure out his own party planning. But but you got to figure out what it is that you want to do. You know, especially as a couple, because now you really have to define what does that marriage look like? What does relationship look like? What is it that you're going to do? Because you will find that your kids will take up a lot of your time when it comes to parenting. And so once they step out, and for that brief moment in time where you may not have any grandkids and the kids are gone, you know, you have to fill that time up, because when those grandkids come, I would say 9 out of 10, maybe 8, maybe 7 out of 10 times, you're going to have that grandchild quite a bit. You know, and that's going to be
7 out of 10.
Listen, I'm thinking about this thing as
a
we
few
age.
People don't want their grandkids.
Right. It might be 50-50. You know, you better call ahead. Don't just drop by.
Listen, you talking pure craziness. I know for sure that my soror is going to always want them babies running up in there. Whatever trip has a baby, you can guarantee she's going to want to see them.
Yeah.
Now you're right.
I waved Jamaica over. It's a Jamaica grandkid. Jamaica. That's gonna be a tough sell. I'm gonna tell you.
Listen, she gonna be like, I want them both. I want them both.
The baby can't go to Jamaica.
Listen, just tell the baby she'll be there when Grandma be back, Nana be back, Gigi be back. I'll see you when I get back.
Right.
But that's a real part. But you know, that's a real part of parenting, you know, that we don't necessarily look at. But it's like once we get to that place, you know, because like I said, you're in this race now, trying to get it all done to get her situated for college. And like I said, you have another one right behind her, and that time that window is going to close pretty soon as well, you know. And so that's a piece, you know. Where do you see yourself? Have you guys started thinking beyond that point in terms of where you're going to be with that?
I can't sit here and give you, a clear yes. We have, partly because, you know, we don't know just yet. Like I almost feel like, okay, let us see how things are going to flow. Maybe when the oldest gets, you know, or into her second year, how things will really, then we'll be able to assess how the household is being ran. Or even a couple years later, once my oldest graduates college and the youngest is in college, then we can really see how we're going to be able to, kind of flow. Like, for example, one of the things that we want to do, purchase another home, right? So we want to move, but right now ain't no movement going on. Right? We're not in a position where we can just make that happen. And I blame HGTV for that, because my wife and my youngest, really all three of them, they be glued into those shows,
renovations and all these different things.
And I'm they're in there like this. I'm in the background like
it's gonna cost some money, right?
Right, right. They're like, good and well, our accounts are frozen right now because of everything else that's happening. But all these ideas start coming in. But that's just an example of something that we would love to be able to do. And not saying that we're going to stop dreaming of that or stop thinking about that and stop doing things to make that happen. But we like I said, I can't give you a straight yes that we have sat there and really thought about, you know, step 1, step 2, step 3, what we're going to do when the kids are where they are.
You're just trying to get the kids where they are.
I think that's our number 1 priority.
Yeah.
Let's just get them there. Let's make sure that they're in the right situation. And even the dog, you know, we got to consider where the dog is going to be, you know, throughout all of this. Shout out to Coda, who swear he's a guard dog, but he's not. But but all of those different things, man, you know, we know it's happening. And like you said, we're just trying to make sure that right now Jairus is straight. All right. Yeah.
But
so yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. It's been a lot.
Absolutely.
Parenting is a lot. Parenting is a lot.
And it never ends. So you go through phases.
Yeah.
That part.
Well, it's been great having you back at the table.
Absolutely.
And you know we're going to have you back at the table because we're going to need some updates, some progress,
right.
some mental check-ins.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna need that.
Definitely so. Well, listen, y'all join us right here for the most delicious part of radio, right here at the table. WHOV Smooth 88.1.
The essence of HU.
Keep your fork.
Someday we'll be able to measure the power of words. I think they are things. I think they get on the walls. They get in your wallpaper. They get in your rugs, in your upholstery, in your clothes, and finally into you.
Thank you for joining us at the table.
Tune in next Sunday at 1 p.m. for more delicious topical recipes for life on the Sunday Brunch.
On Smooth 88.1 WHOV.